That's your fault for not clearly talking and not making clear on the podcast.
I heard only a segment of what you were talking about with Abba. Mm-hmm. How do I become an orbiter? The short clip that Mel posted, I don't know if she had edited it or if it was somebody else, was like cut. It was pretty heavily cut up. MLD, I think he was talking about in general, but like, cause she threw in, well, what should you do in divorce? And then she threw in this other stuff about abuse. I mean, point blank period, my take is, if you're being abused, whether emotionally, physically, whatever it may be, but your question is physically abused, like, get out, like, end.
Wait, okay. If he wants that to be, oh shit, he must have gotten a lot of pushback. If he wants that to be his opinion now, I guess that's fine. But that wasn't his opinion on the show. That wasn't genuinely his opinion on the show. Pretty sure the opinion on the show is that, like, emotional abuse is a joke. And girls will say anything is emotional abuse, so why would we even take him seriously when we talk about it? That was the take on the show, but...
Don't stay. However, they decided to, like, crop in, like, Chase, and then they cropped in Mary, and then John, and then they put... I didn't even say anything during that entire segment, and they put me in the segment, and then, like, people are thinking every single one of us, like, they showed our face in the segment, that we co-signed on his endure statement, which is not true. If you're in an abusive relationship, like marriage, relationship, whatever, that's pretty justifiable, extremely justifiable reason to leave and get out. Go ahead, Pearl.
Yeah, when I watched the full clip, I was actually really surprised because I didn't really take it that that's what he meant. But when they cut it up like that, it just seemed like he said something he didn't say. But that's what a lot of these like.
Didn't I? Hold on. I feel like there was literally a moment where somebody can tell me I'm wrong. Didn't I literally ask, or didn't I make the point? It feels like you guys want to endure relationships and we want to enjoy them, and all of them were like, yeah, that is what we mean. I feel like that was a moment. Am I crazy? Did I make that up? I feel like I explicitly said that, and I feel like somebody can find me the moment of the podcast, and I feel like that was explicitly their response. Somebody can link me the timestamp. It wasn't unanimous agreement? Oh, maybe the Doyle guy was the one who agreed. And Chase posted the exchange share.
Melina, what was it that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just curious.
Oh, 5 minutes.
I just wanted to see like an honest answer on this one. If there's someone that's very, very young, might be really religious and like values marriage a lot.
Can you recruit Helmet Girl? I hate that you guys like that girl so much. I hate like the quirky XD sit here and make faces shit.
And goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20. And then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From who?
From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
so
really.
Rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just, yeah.
I also really don't like this whole like, it's so rare, it's so rare, it's so rare, abuse is so rare, it's so rare, it's so rare. And then I asked the question, and I thought he wouldn't have answered me. How do you feel about third trimester abortion? Like, it's so horrible, it's the worst thing. It's like, isn't that like 2% of abortions? Like, why do you have such a strong opinion about that when that's so rare? Do you think that there's only 2% of relationships are abusive? Like,
yeah, even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do?
I'll tell you what I would do. If my daughter was in a relationship with a guy and she gets married to him and he starts abusing her a year into it, I'm going to be showing up on their doorstep and teaching.
Also, this is a non-answer. This is a Hassan tier answer. What happens if they're in an abusive relationship? I'm going to go beat the guy up. Like, okay, chief, congratulations, okay?
Him some lessons.
Exactly.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument.
That wasn't the question. The question wasn't, would you beat up somebody abusing your daughter? Which you don't get points for, by the way. Like any father would probably be infuriated if their daughter was being abused. It's not like you don't get brownie points for that. Third trimester abortions are almost always mandatory. Yeah.
To endure, because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households, and it lasted for periods of time, and it was a phase, and they endured through it, and they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
Like, I don't understand how he thinks his full answer exonerates him here. Like, he's literally saying, like, yeah, sometimes people in abusive situations just tough it out and you'll be okay. Like, that's literally what he's saying.
To an extent.
So you would say that to stick in those relationships that might be abusive to everyone involved and a child, if there's a child.
I'm not saying like, hey, stick in the relationship and get the shit beat out of you by a husband. All I can tell you is what I would do as a father of a daughter in a situation like that. If a woman is in a situation where she's getting the shit beat out of her by her husband and like he might...
Yeah, and then they have to go to like the most extreme thing. If the shit is getting beat out of her and she's gonna die. Like, okay, bro, like, congratulations, chief.
Kill her. yeah, she should leave the marriage, in my opinion.
But statistically, like, that's not what it is. It's kind of like with the abortion anomaly. That's not like the majority of abortions. So let's like talk about what actually happens. And what actually happens when people are getting divorced isn't these types of scenarios. It's like literally initiated, you'll probably know the stat, between 2/3 and 80% of the time by women. And the plurality of that reason is they feel unfulfilled. They want a new chapter in their life. It's like the eat, pray, love phenomenon. That should be outlawed. You legally actually should not be able to do that.
Yeah, and that's an insane statement as well that nobody here fights against. Like, literally nobody here. Like,
And again, I'm going to say the exact same
56%.
thing I said before. Finish.
Sorry, 56% of the time with divorces, one or both spouses cite pornography as one of the reasons why their relationship has to come to an end, and irreconcilable.
I'm gonna start. I might do this research next. I really do think these red pillars don't have any stats. I think they make all of this up. I think everybody cites, like, for instance, there is an like, if you've watched 10 podcasts. This is the single stat that everybody always cites about body count, by the way. This is the single stat, by the way. And also, by the way, this stat, if you actually look at it, this is why I always fight them on their argument, because it was like, oh, lower number of partners, the Institute of Family Studies. Oh, really? Well, the Institute of Family Studies says if you 2 guys, then you might as well 9. You should 6 more, because the chances of you getting divorced 6 to 9 partners is less than 2 partners. And by the way, if we go back to the 90s, the chances of you getting divorced are higher if you 2 partners than if you 50 partners. The 10 plus partners is a lower divorce rate. And by the way, that was true in the 80s and the 90s. It's only recently changed in the 2000s, and it's not even that much higher. But like, this is the one study. I don't even think these guys actually know any of the studies or stats on this. They just cite these same stupid numbers with no context. Oh, and I even had to correct them on the educated woman thing.
Finish.
Sorry, 56% of the time with.
Also, what a worthless stat is. 56% of the time divorces happen, one of the reasons cited is pornography. What is the implication being that pornography is causing marriages to break up, when more likely it's probably a symptom of another issue, especially if that's just one of the causes, and it's not even the primary cause. But you still lose on the single partner point there. You don't really, it's just, I need to think of how to break down the single partner point, because there's 2 big things that happen on the single partner point. One is a statistical artifact, and the second is religious households. And these 2 things are probably playing massively. Hold on. Stop. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Stop. I see a link. You don't have to spam the same link 500 times. I need like a dependent, not dependent, conditional probability. I don't even know if that would be what we're technically talking about here. If you've got 100 people in a group and every single person has the exact same likelihood of finding their forever partner, right? And everybody's the exact same, like clones of everybody. If you match them up 50 and 50, and 10% of people have the chance of finding the right partner, right? So you remove 10 people out of here, and now you're matching like 45 and 45, and you keep matching until they pick their perfect partner, right? Like, just going by random chance, even if everybody here was statistically the exact same, the people that found their partners early are always going to generate a graph like this. I don't know like a simplistic way to explain this statistically, but some of this like preference for early partnership could literally be just like, oh, you just got lucky and the first person you ran into happened to be very, very, very compatible. But it doesn't mean that because you had no previous partners, now this relationship is better. It could just be that the first partner you found happened to be the one, like your high school sweetheart that you happen to get married to. Like these types of statistical artifacts are going to influence how this type of data will show up. I don't know to what extent. But there's that, and then there's also, I need to dig into like marriage happiness stats and shit, because obviously there's a lot of religious people who will stay in relationships for ever, and they'll either cheat or be abusive and never get divorced anyway. But I do think it's really interesting on these IFS studies, nobody ever talks about this weird 2-partner hurdle, where like the highest divorce rates you have are around this like 2-partner mark. Nobody talks about that. Happiness stats are wonky as fuck. Yeah, I don't remember what I read, but apparently tracking happiness and shit is very, 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 very difficult. Or like all the research around that is like very...
Divorces, one or both spouses cite pornography as one of the reasons why their relationship has to come to an end, an irreconcilable difference.
I want to ask like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if 2 people get married, have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus himself said.
And also, come on! How are you giving such a... Like, why do you think this full clip makes you look better?
differs.
I want to ask like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if two people get married, have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus.
He literally says to murder the woman. Like, what the fuck? And everybody was like, Wait, come on. Seriously?
Himself
You don't
said,
think it wasn't
Jesus,
an
hold on, hold on.
adultery?
Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said,
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
Melina misspoke here. She shouldn't have said that worse than physical abuse because that wasn't necessarily what they were talking about. But still, like, Jesus.
Or
Children,
cheating, sorry. You think that cheating is
than
worse than physical abuse?
for the
Sorry.
children, yes.
Absolutely.
I think
You think cheating is worse than physical abuse?
Cheating is worse than physical abuse.
For the
Sorry.
children, yes.
Absolutely
I think I'm not going to say
divorce-
divorce.
divorce is worse for the children.
I already
Is
said
cheating worse than
that
physical
if a
Cheating,
woman's
yeah.
getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave. Like,
And then he backs up to the.
if it's a
I think Mel should have. She should have clarified the difference between the emotional and the physical abuse here, probably. But like, I don't know how you think that this clip, like the fuller context, makes you look any better. Like, this is an insane conversation.
a brief temporary thing, like
What if it's mental abuse?
Destiny, you do have to give into some of the mate switching thing because of birth control. What birth control does to women's hormones is insane. I thought you and Chris Williamson talked about it. I've done a lot of research on that since then, and that seems to be totally not true and not valid. There is no research anywhere supporting the hypothesis that women dramatically change their mate selection based on hormone cycles or anything. There is no research that supports that. So much so that everybody in the evo psych field that I'm aware of has dropped that hypothesis. It's not taken seriously anymore.
Okay, now
Do you think
less
it's-
cut and
if it's-
dry.
if it's
You are
mental
setting your
abuse?
child up for failure as well if you stay in like these abusive
Look, that's not
marriages.
true. I just want you guys to understand this is like the reason why I sit on this podcast and like extol the virtues that I do is because it's like I think we need more righteous biblical masculinity in the world where you actually have good men that are going to be good leaders of their households. They're not going to beat their wives or emotionally or mentally abuse them or any of these things. Like that's why I continue to do this podcast with Brian because
That's also like such a cop out point too. Oh, well, I don't want anybody to do that. Okay, well, that's not the question. Is do you want anybody to do that? Like, congratulations, you don't want anybody to be abusive. Like, are you expecting like bonus points for that or?
need to make men great again so that we don't have these situations
no,
continue.
but,
to
Yeah,
But
you're
it
talking
just-
about liberal men who would
but
get
there's probably-
epically triggered like
Facts.
But there's-
snowflakes.
but there's
Facts.
probably
And
gonna
they'd be like, "You're equal to me. I'm gonna beat you up."
But there's probably going to be cases where there are like
What?
really, really horrible marriages. And my question is, would you recommend those people to like choose happiness and like divorce and try to like be on their own because being in a relationship makes them really, really unhappy? Maybe even suicidal. Who knows? Do you think they should rather stay just because they?
But you're
swore-
trying to-
I think
you're
I think
taking-
they should go to
you're
church
taking
and
a-
return to God.
like, you're taking a very,
so that
very-
these
Yeah, but I
issues
don't.
go away.
Yeah,
You're
but
taking
the
a very-
issues
wait,
would
wait,
go-
hold on.
Let's say if your partner is being really, really, really bad to you, and there's like so many things that he needs therapy, but he's not doing it. Do you think that the wife in that case should stick around for that, even though it might be really bad for her and the child? It's
you're
better to
taking
stick
That, who just said yeah? Was that Doyle or was that the MDJ guy or whatever? Hold on.
that, even though it might be really bad for her and the child.
Oh, Doyle.
It's
You're
better to stick around
you're
for
taking
that
an
than-
extremely
than
niche.
separating.
Hold on, you're taking an
I
extremely
don't think it's very
niche
extreme.
example. You are.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Also, extremely niche example, mate.
I think there's a lot of.
So listen, you're taking an
relationships out there
extremely
that-
niche example and you're blanket statementing it for like the entire
I'm not
solution
saying
of
it's all.
divorce.
I think that. I think
you
it
are
could be-
though.
No, I'm not saying.
But you're saying like,
no,
what if
wait,
the
wait.
guy is like beating the wife?
Yeah, I'm asking
and then
you what
like
you
the
think,
kids
what you
are like,
recommend.
Then you just then you answer the question. If it's extremely niche, then you just answer the question. Like, yeah, in case of physical abuse, you should probably like not. Like, that's easy. If the hypothetical is extreme, then the answer should be easy.
they love Black Lives Matter.
Because I never talk. I never see you conservatives talk about problems like this.
I'm not a conservative, first of all.
I always see you guys talk about how you get there and all these things, but when it actually comes to like happiness and like mental health, I never see you talk about any of it. And like,
This is
what's
why-
your
Mental health is a
situation?
side
Melina, I want to make
Yeah.
the point. This is why I tell people that they need to find God and go to church because it's like all of these problems that you're describing. If somebody authentically has a relationship with Christ and they're living in alignment with the Word, like it's going to mitigate 99%
Yes,
of these
but I
issues.
do know conservatives that is going
Like, what are these answers?
to church
there's fucked
and
up
they
people out
still
there.
abuse their.
point-
But if you're really, really religious, like really heavily, and you have a lot of pressure from your parents and like society, or like the group that you're coming from, the culture, it's going to be a lot harder for you to divorce because
you're
you have the
creating
pressure
like
to
a-
stick.
you're creating
Because you
like a-
guys are saying like no matter what happens, you stick in the marriage, even though it might be
But again,
really
to
like
go
mental
back,
damage
Melina,
and
Melina,
everything, right?
Melina, to
choose
go
your
back to the
partners
point. Nev,
wisely.
1 second. To go back to the point that I was making, encouraging people to go to church. If somebody's in a situation like that,
I feel so bad for the women that get cut off. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but I was the only person I think on that show, unless Brian did it once maybe. I was the only person on the show like, oh wait, hold on, let's let Nav talk, or hold on, let's let Mary talk, or hold on, let's like nobody ever gave any space for either of these two women to talk the entire fucking time. I was feeling so bad. Holy shit.
encouraging people to go to church. If somebody's in a situation like that, this is a concern that ought to be brought before the church and taken care of with the elders and the other people that are there. And
Like, what does this mean?
let's say John is beating his wife, right? And his wife comes to the church leadership and she's like, hey, like this is a problem.
With two
I
black
want to
guys,
divorce him.
like, hey,
you know,
this guy
at that
whooped my
point in
ass.
time, the church leadership can step in and be like, yo, John, why are you beating your wife?
Which honestly, I appreciate them asking. A lot of institutions wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
There might be valid reasons.
And they
Yeah.
ought to. And this is
I've already told her twice,
This is a
like-
positive social pressure that comes with being a part of the body of Christ and like actually being involved, right? Like there's so many benefits to people seeking God and going to church and like being a part of a community like that, where a situation like you're describing arising, like there's going to be a ton of social accountability. But when people are atomized and they're separated from the rest of their community and stuff, and they're, you know, they have like a secular conservative home, you don't have that social net to like protect people.
Also, here's something that I'll say too, and now that I'm paying more attention to this, I have a little bit less sympathy for this. If you disagree with the person next to you, you should make it clear. Like, I think it was pretty clear on this show when Pixie and Aaron were giving takes that I disagreed with. I made quite a bit of effort to rhetorically distance myself from them. Like, I might summarize something to say at the end, but I wasn't backing them up on those arguments. I wasn't nodding in agreement. And like when I gave my position, it was pretty clear where me and them differed. Like if some guy is next to you and you're screaming alongside him and he's saying like, yeah, women should get crucified for cheating. And it's like, and then you're upset later, like, hold on, well, that wasn't my opinion. Like, well, bro, like, you're literally sitting next to this guy who's saying this shit. Like, why aren't you opening your mouth? Why aren't you saying anything at all? Right? Like,
social net to like protect
People used to get lynched for doing things like that.
I think the issue is that, like, in the broadest, in the most macro, broadest sense, I think the big disagreements is it feels like on our side, it feels like we're talking about relationships like they're meant to be enjoyed, and you guys are talking about relationships like they're meant to be endured.
Absolutely.
I mean, to an extent, a
And they
relationship.
all agreed with that. Wait, who just said they didn't agree with that? One guy just said absolutely. One guy just said to an extent. Like, I like the I like how you guys think two totally opposite.
I disagree with the idea.
Wait.
The idea
So-
that they're just meant to be endured, again, it's another false dichotomy.
Like,
right?
I feel like principally they're basically there. I don't know. To an extent.
Like you're saying,
I like the
like,
I like
so-
how you guys talking about relationships like they're meant to be endured.
Absolutely.
I mean, to an extent, a relationship.
I like the I like how you guys. Or maybe one says absolutely to an extent. Maybe he was shaking his head because I'm pointing at both of them. So maybe one of them disagreed here. What is this?
Reaction channel. And I'll say this as a content creator. Like,
Oh, we just missed one of her favorite buzzwords, TMZ reaction channel. Wait, I don't know if she said the TMZ part. I heard the reaction channel though.
you said something it didn't say, but that's what a lot of these like reaction channels, and I'll say this as a content creator, like a lot of the reaction channels will take clips to like put you out of context and like say things that you didn't say, and kind of like it's really dishonest, honestly.
And Mel, the Destiny's
Yeah.
wife, it was her clip that she made, which I think is pretty disingenuous because if you watch the whole thing,
I
think MLD got a little like he was fucking 7 White Claws deep too. Look, if he
Okay, also, bro, I like to get fucked up just as much as the next guy. Drugs and alcohol are awesome, okay? Why are you doing drugs and then going on a podcast, though, going out to 15, 20,000 people? Why would you do that? Hello?
I'm not going to co-sign what he said,
Not the
disavow.
TV static.
Disavow, but like it sounded like to me like they were asking about divorce in general and he was saying endure, and then like somewhere through that she brings up physical abuse. And so
Well, and so I kind of look at this question a little differently because
Oh, yes, please. The queen of the pick-me's. Please tell us exactly how divorce is like evil things that women do. Yes.
my question is like, what is the abusive situation? And I need specifics. And like the reason I need specifics is women cry abuse for everything, and we've actually lost the meaning of abuse. Like if you go to
she's so brave. Yes.
and I know this because I'm doing a divorce documentary. And so I'm actually interviewing men that are in the process of getting like absolutely wrecked by divorce. And a lot of them have had false allegations put out against them.
Wow.
And a lot of those, basically what the feminists do is they expand the definition of abuse to include things like coercive control, financial abuse, and even physical abuse. A lot of times, like girls don't talk about how they hit first. And most abusive situations are mutually abusive, meaning they're both hitting each other. And so a lot of times what girls will do is they'll say, oh, I'm being abused, but they don't talk about how she hit him first. Like I had a girl on the show say I
love how she never and she will never qualify anything with numbers. A lot of the time. This is why one of my new like rhetorical strategies when I'm on these shows, I think I've done this on almost every show I've been on. What is the percentage? Give me the percent. What do you think is the percentage of people that do this? I need a number because when you say a lot of the time, are we talking like 3%? Or are we talking like 60%?
Physically abused. And I used to just believe women. Like I would always just be like, oh, I'm so sorry. But then you start asking questions, and it baffles me how women like turn the situation of them like being abused when they aren't. Like this one girl, she came on my show, she said, I was physically abused. I said, okay, tell me the situation. What exactly happened? She refused to leave his house. She refused. So she's trespassing on his property, saying, I'm not gonna leave. And he pushes her out of the house.
Wait, hold on, what?
She happened. One girl, she came on my show, she said, I was physically abused. I said, okay, tell me the situation. What exactly happened? She refused to leave his house. She refused. So she's trespassing on his property, saying, I'm not gonna leave. And he pushes her out.
Oh, okay, sure. What is this? Can you explain your tweet about bad faith? I'm pretty sure it is a term you use, and in general, bad faith actors will use it the way you said, not people who actually try to have a convo. I usually see people say somebody's being bad faith when they disagree with them. That's what I hear over and over and over and over and over again. I think I read it on my subreddit recently. That's what inspired me to make the tweet.
Out of the house. Is that abuse?
No.
Or another thing that girls do is they'll edge a guy on. Like I saw a clip of a girl basically making fun of a guy for having a dead son. And he hit her. Who abused who? And that's like the other side of this that we don't talk about, is that a lot of times like the feminists or whatever will try to get a gotcha question because they'll say, oh, if you're in an abusive marriage. But like I know the ins and outs of this because I interview the men that are falsely accused, and this is so common.
I know the ins and outs of this because I talk to one side of people that are disproportionately affected that represent a minority of okay, dude.
And it's so common. And the one thing that guys should know is if a girl says she was abused and she didn't file a police report, because in family court, you don't need evidence to accuse someone of abuse. You need no evidence.
She said this, by the way. She said this on Twitter, and I asked what her source was for that. What is the source for this? And she said nothing. I think she said, I've talked to tons of lawyers. Can somebody explain to me what we're talking about here when we talk about how you can accuse people of abuse and not have any evidence for it in family? What is what are we talking about? What is the...
And in criminal court,
and not a single person here is going to ask her about it.
You do. So it's more it's more likely true if it's in criminal court. If it's real abuse, yeah, I mean you should leave. But my issue is a lot of times it's not actually real abuse what they're talking about, and they don't talk about the other side where a lot of times the girls start it. Thank you.
I don't know about that
Yeah,
example of somebody saying, of the woman saying that, telling the husband that he had a dead son, and then she hits him.
No, I said he hit her.
Oh, he hit her.
Because she was
That's unacceptable,
taunting.
though.
She was taunting him
If
about
someone
it.
taunts you, or if you taunt someone and they hit you, is that acceptable? Legally,
I didn't say
that
it's acceptable, but it's not like
we're
they're
talking
paying
about someone's dead child.
Right,
I don't think
and
you know
then,
until that happens to you your reaction.
I
would be.
understand
You can walk
that,
away
but you
from a
can't-
situation.
You can't punch someone because they say something that hurts your feelings. You
Yeah,
cannot
violence
do that.
is not okay, but
That is
that's
not
not make it
acceptable.
okay.
Right.
Wait, tilt your microphone so it's facing straight.
I'm not saying it's okay, but we don't talk about the other side where a lot of times girls will provoke it.
I agree with
So
you.
it's not like
Yeah.
he's this horrible.
Explanation
Like
isn't
is
just
that in that
Right.
situation? Is that something that could be worked out? I mean, obviously that's a crazy toxic relationship, but they'll act like, oh, the guy isn't the horrible person, he's in the wrong, he hit her, but it's like you were taunting him. And also, a lot of times, you know what girls do? And I've read these text messages. I have literally
Read these text
gone through
messages.
these, subpoena or whatever it is when they have to get the stuff from the women. Women know that they get perks from the government if they accuse a guy of abuse.
I have a very close.
know.
Wait, what? Hold on. Can you tell me? What are they? Why can't she list any of these things? What are the perks from the government you get if you accuse a guy of abuse? What is she? Maybe she's about to explain what that means?
There was a girl that had in text messages, I wish he would just hit me. Because if he hit her, she gets a free lawyer from the government.
Doesn't the government normally give you, I don't know. I can't speak for British shit, actually. I don't know. But Destiny, probably restraining orders or some shit. I could be wrong, but my understanding is you can get a restraining order for almost anything. I don't think you'd ever even need evidence for a restraining order. I think you just go to a judge and say, hey, this dude's stalking me, can I get a restraining order? I'm pretty sure they give restraining orders pretty easily, but that's true for everybody.
And so these are the situations that the left doesn't talk about, where men are falsely accused all the time.
All the time. No numbers.
And it's so sad because women that are actually
Actually being
abused are the ones that suffer for it, because women are going around calling everything abuse, everything rape. Like
and most of the women who
expand-
suffer from abuse actually suffer in silence and
They don't
don't
say
speak
anything.
on it
They're scared to
ever,
come forward.
and are terrified, and even and it makes it difficult too. But obviously to prove in court. But a lot of women also don't call the cops.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of
like
people
when you
suffer
said
in
that.
silence.
Yeah, the people who
So
need
I'm
it the
just-
most, they
yeah.
don't say anything.
I mean, in my opinion, like I really think we need to go off of evidence. Like I just think that false accusations.
I also hate it when people like, I think we should go off evidence. Like, wow. So really? That's such a brave thing to say. No shit, Sherlock fucking Holmes.
And abuse is so rampant that we have to go off of evidence, and we should encourage women that are actually abused to go to the police, because have to go off evidence. Like I just think that false accusations and abuse is so rampant that we
So rampant? Percentage. What is the percentage? This is what makes me feel like I'm really not trying to suck myself up, but I feel like such a waste of time. These people, like, how can you have a conversation like this and not feel humiliated that you can't give a single number for anything? I feel like I would feel humiliated. If knowing that you're doing prep on this, knowing that you're going into these shows to talk about real issues, would you not feel humiliated that you don't have any data to back anything up you're saying? I'm really just gonna go here and weave a bunch of stories and hope everybody takes what I'm saying on gospel. Not a single person who's going to ask, you keep saying a lot, you keep saying a majority, you keep saying a ton of the time, you keep saying it's rampant. What is the number?
we have to go off of evidence, and we should encourage women that are actually abused to go to the police. Because now we're in a situation where if you don't go to the police, how can I just believe you when women go around falsely accusing men all the time?
All the time? What's the number?
I mean, also, I think there's certain situations where you don't have evidence.
Yeah.
Like, if I get hit, but it's not leaving a bruise, how are you supposed to show the evidence of that?
And I think you also need
if I go to
to
the police.
Go to police officers and
how
tell
would
them
it
to
not-
take it
how
more
would you not-
seriously, because
So I'm
I can't
thinking,
tell
if an
you how many
average guy-
times
if
that I
Brian-
have had friends
I like how this, can she finish one statement, Pearl? You just ranted for 20 minutes, Queen.
has something happen and they've gone to the police and the police do absolutely nothing.
Well, is it possible that maybe it didn't happen?
No.
That's
Bro, she's saying that her friend said this and she just shouldn't believe her the friend at all. Oh, maybe she just made it the up. What the fuck? Holy giga, Stacy.
Because we're not really going to get into it, but I was there. So I know for a fact.
if you
Michaela, can you pull
my whole point isn't about my whole point is we need to go off of evidence.
That's no
in society, we cannot just openly believe women because they say something. It is not
But
fair
what was
to
I
men.
supposed to do?
I'm not
Get
talking
my
about
camera
look at,
out?
I'm not
But this is
talking
what
about
I'm
your
asking you is what do you mean by evidence? You know, was I supposed to sit
so
there
if you
and get my camera out?
if you saw it,
It was my witness testimony enough?
What do you mean?
Witness testimony is evidence. It's considered direct evidence, right? That is evidence.
Go ahead.
Not to hype up vegan gains, but vegan gains in chat said, anyone who's dealt with the police knows they rarely do anything to solve any crimes. I think this is one of the things that gets me really triggered is when people come in and they talk about the police don't do anything for hate crimes, and when somebody blah, 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 whatever. And it's bro, who was I talking to yesterday that came into the chat and they, I don't remember what they were talking about, but they were what were we talking about? I just remember that I just remember that, do you want to talk about false rape claims? No, hold on. I got a ton of shit I got to catch up on before I talk to even anybody. I got a ton of things. Was it Philly where, cops don't solve any crimes? Okay? Unless they're talking some serious shit. If somebody breaks into your house and steals some shit, cops will come by. I don't even know if they fucking swap for fingerprints, to be honest. The cops will come by, what happened? Oh, shit happened. No, I don't want to talk about, false rape claims. I don't have time to go into everything. I got, 20 fucking things I gotta catch up on, and I'm leaving to travel, 3 days. I love you, but, we can talk later if you want, okay?
Well, I just wanted to clarify my statement.
Go for it.
Yeah, so anybody who's dealt with the police know that they're largely incompetent, and there's many crimes that you can report to a police, including just general assault, aggravated assault, simple assault, thefts, especially when you're talking about property that isn't particularly expensive, so only a few $100s. A lot of the time, they'll never follow up. So when Just Pearly Things talks about a woman going to the police where she doesn't really have any marks or bruises on her, but she's claimed to have been assaulted. Yeah, you'd expect a cop to kind of act indifferent and not really follow up on anything.
Yeah, but also to be fair, I don't know if it's necessarily cops are incompetent, but like in real life, solving crimes is really hard, right? Like if somebody comes to you and they say like, oh, somebody hit me or whatever, and it's like, well, if you don't have like video evidence, like what the fuck are they gonna do? They're not about to go through the entire city to try to figure out like who matches it.
Sure, but when you literally have like proof of like I've gone to the police where I have absolute proof of a theft where somebody stole a little bit of camera equipment from me, just a few memory cards. They said, we're not really gonna do anything about, you know, like $120 worth of memory cards, sorry. They just flat out told me that. So
for that might be true too, depending on the amount of property lost.
Yeah, so like I just wanted to point out that police will often just not care. If a girl goes to a police station and says, I've been assaulted, doesn't really have a mark on her, it's not that they can't really find any evidence in support of that claim and charge them. It's just that they're thinking, you don't even have a mark on you, why should we investigate?
Yeah, sure, possibly, yeah.
Yeah, that's just what I wanted to point out. Like many, like police will often just not care.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. We'll take care, man.
Be careful, buddy.
Was me witnessing it in considered evidence?
I would think so.
You would think so,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know the ins and outs of every situation. So
and now she's gonna go, well, I don't know about your situation. But let me tell you this one text message that I read from a husband who, like, bro,
I don't really want to go into your personal one.
No,
But
I'm just
what
saying that when
is
you say, like, if a girl hasn't taken it to the cops, then she's lying, that's not a blanket statement.
Your friend did take it to the cops,
Yeah, but
right?
I'm telling you.
And I'm saying
no,
women
because
should go to the
I'm not
police.
finished.
But why if they don't do anything?
All right, let's move on. We're not going to talk about this.
oh my god, and then Brian cucks the conversation. Seriously? Because Pearl is starting to get pushed a little bit? Because she has a little bit of pushback?
Thank you for the super chat, but yeah, I think you're digging there, Tolu. I don't know if you're digging for something.
What do you think about the fact that this guy's claiming it's all out of context?
I watched the full 5-minute thing that he posted, and I feel like it makes them look even worse. But
Agreed. I watched the full thing, and I think Chase specifically was, I think, the only one out of the three that was very clear-cut against. Actually, I won't say clear-cut. He was against women being in abusive relations, but the way he qualified is like if her life is in danger, okay? Which I think was like a bit of a flag for me. And the second one was when pressed on it, he did these things that were really weird. They first made it sound like it's
so
very
rare.
Extreme. I'm like,
you're talking about
domestic violence.
You're thinking about a thing where a woman is getting hit by a guy. This is so rare. That's such a niche. Like, bro, are you serious? Like, yeah.
I looked at the numbers. It was anywhere from like 20 to 35% of like marriages have domestic violence involved.
That sounds insane, but
that's what I've looked up multiple numbers on this fact, and that's what it says. So this idea that think about it in your own personal life. I think we all know people who are either in relationships or in marriages that are abusive to some degree. Do you not know anybody?
Bro, my wife is in an abusive relationship right now. I know multiple women that have been in those types of relationships. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right. So I was already confused. And so like, he's like, oh, you guys are misrepresenting me. Like I wasn't trying to, but I'm like, do you not hear yourself? You made it sound like this shit never happens, which is already, I think, probably one of the worst takes you can have on this topic. But then secondly, as this guy's going off about endure, now they're all remixing the take. They're trying to say, modern life dating, I think he said something like, oh no, I'm not saying a woman should stay in a relationship if she's getting beaten, but if she gets hit once, like
maybe they should go talk to a priest. Yeah, that's what I said. The full clip makes you guys look insane. Yeah, and then it's kind of funny too, because something that's happened to them, August pointed this out, something that I'm very careful of when I'm on shows with other people that I know I'm not going to line up with 100%, I'm very careful to separate my opinions. If you watch me debate Rolo and Michael with Sneeko, when Sneeko started getting on that insane Tradcon shit, I was very careful to separate so people don't think those opinions are mine. When Aaron was going off or Pixie was going too much, I was like, oh, these are not my opinions. I was very careful of it. Notice how all of them are kind of too scared to call each other out. So part of them stumbling over themselves was all of them were running with the accumulated baggage of every other person's argument, and none of them took the time to actually differentiate themselves or separate themselves out. Like that John Doyle guy would just say like random crazy shit, like crucify women that are cheating. Like, yeah, they should be blah, blah, blah. And like nobody was actually taking the time to like, well, no, hold on. Just to be clear, I don't agree with John or Emil, whatever here. I don't agree with these guys. Like they were all just kind of rolling with each other's arguments and getting totally lost. Like tangled up spaghetti. It was insane. Yeah.
And now they're upset because they view themselves a certain type of way in what they believe, but they haven't externalized it or verbalized it in any type of way. And they're expecting everyone to know or understand that. But you haven't made yourself clear. And in a weird way, you were kind of running defense for the people around you and the stuff that they were saying, either by not saying anything or saying things that worked in their favor. Because one of the guys, I think it's, what's the blonde girl's name?
Oh, God, Mary.
The one that was with you?
The one that, Pixie, sorry, Andreas.
Yeah, her. I think she said something along the lines of like, being in an abusive household, it's just statistically, it's a very bad outcomes. And the kill him guy, the one who went divorce is not a real thing. Yeah, him. He goes, no, that's not true. It's not worse to be in an abusive household than it is to be separated. And I'm thinking, what? You honestly believe that it's better for children to be in a household where the parents beat each other than like a single parent household? And he was like, yeah, for sure. So when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, how do you guys feel like you were that separated?
Yeah, I was really surprised because when he posted the full clip, I was like, I wonder if Melina's editor did maybe cut this a little bit unfairly. And then he posted the full 5-minute thing and I was like, this sounds worse. You guys are crazy, dude. Yeah. And then there was I then I asked the guy, and I was surprised he didn't know the like trap I was setting, because it's barely even a trap. Because I asked him afterwards, I was like, okay, you guys are saying this is a ridiculous hypothetical about like abusive relationships. How do you feel about like third trimester abortion? And like immediately it was like, oh no, that's the worst thing in the world. It's so horrible. And I was like, okay, well, this is also a thing that is like incredibly fucking rare. But it seems like you have a very strong emotional response to this. Why can't you just give us an emotional response or like a hypothetical response to an abusive relationship without having to qualify 50 million times how unbelievably and unfathomably rare this is? Like, yeah, I don't know.
More than just saying it's rare and unfathomable, he also said, I don't know what I would say prescriptively. I don't know what I would say. I wouldn't know what I would say. And then Melina asked, like, well, what if they're cheating? Divorce.
Yeah, the cheating.
Divorce. I was like, how are you so quick for divorce? You wouldn't think that some people should work it out? I would argue that cheating is a situation where I think people have more odds of working it out than someone getting their fucking ass beat. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
It was just that kind of stuff. It wasn't just what was said explicitly. It was what was implied by the things that weren't said that, to me, also really were a bit of a red flag in regards to how these guys really feel. Now, look, maybe this guy feels bad now because he feels like, oh, the views that are being represented online are really harmful to his brand, and he doesn't feel like they're reflective of him. But that's your fault for not clearly talking and not making shit clear on the podcast, or being silent when really crazy shit was being said by your side of the aisle.
And that's what irritates me about Brian's response on his show, because if Brian would have come out and he said, listen, I feel like the clip was cut unfairly and we gave a little bit more context, that was fine. But Brian emphatically came out and he was like, I just want you guys to know, I want to be clear, if you're in any type of abusive relationship, you should leave immediately. Mental, physical, emotional, any type of abuse, you should leave. And that's and I was like, bro, where the fuck was this at like 1 week ago? What? That's not your opinion. Like, why are you pretending now like that was what you were trying to say the whole time? Like, are you serious? Yeah, that was cringe, I thought. I was like, okay, dude.
Yeah, and to me, I don't want to overthink it because I can't look into people's hearts or whatever it is that they feel. But the more you listen to these kind of red pill type of podcasts, they feign that they care about women and all this stuff, but at every point where it's so easy to defend them, or to defend them on things that are quite extreme, they seem to fail so miserably hard. It's like, like we're just talking about someone escaping abuse, and you can't even vocally say, "I'm not with that."
Yeah. It's got to be qualified like a million times. Like, that makes you look so bad. Yeah.
Or you just don't say anything on your podcast while that's being said in front of you. Like, if a woman would have come on here and saying abusing men is fantastic or whatever, how quickly do you think these guys would have spoken up and said some shit about it?
Yeah, like when I asked the abortion question, it would have been instant. If some woman was like, you know what, I think it's actually fair to divorce men and take their shit because men ain't shit. Like, everyone in that podcast would be screaming at the top, like, you can't, women are evil, blah, 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 blah. But for the abusive relationship, like, we need to talk to the priests, okay? The father's going to help us, but it was like, bro,
even that little blonde girl, the one who looks like she got deer headlights on all the time, the bug-eyed girl, what's her name?
God, she's one. Never mind. Yes, I know who you're talking about. Mary. Yeah.
So her. She was so snappy all the time with you. Oh, well, you know what? Pornography and your relationship is disgusting and whatever it is. And then we're talking about women literally being abused inside of marriages and whether or not they should stay. And her only involvement in the conversation was to say, well, actually, in Catholic churches, we believe in divorce on a legal level. but not on a spiritual level. I'm like, bitch, are you crazy? Is that your response to people getting their ass beat in relationships? So that's why that side of the aisle, I think, really gave themselves a really bad look, and it is completely their fault. Melina didn't misclip them. She didn't make them seem more disingenuous than they are. They just did a poor job of communicating their stance and really being strong against somebody on their side who was basically saying they got to endure their ass beatings.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say did a poor job communicating. I think they actually communicated their side pretty well, and I think that's what they're upset about. Because, like, if I'm on a show and some guy next to me says some shit like, oh, like, I think all men should be the ass, or oh, I think all black people are animals. Like, you're not going to see me on that show being like, well, are all black people animals? Like, should all men get, you know, it's really like, it would be, you'd obviously, you know my position immediately, right? Even with people that I somewhat agree with, like, you'll know my position immediately. Like, I don't co-sign that. I don't believe it. But like, if people are having a hard time picking out your opinion on abusive relationships, that's probably your problem, you know? Jesus.
Yeah.
But, you know, what are you going to do?
You know they're going to bring you back on that podcast because y'all brought them 1 million views.
Hell yeah. That was their
Even
highest
though
viewed
you
live episode.
misrepresented them and clipped the shit out of them. You know what? They love that money more than they love anything else. So they're going to bring you back. How does that feel?
I'll be back. I like to fight. It's fun for me. My appearances on these shows, I think, are good for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like bringing Mel on these shows? Because she been showing out. That was probably the strongest moment of the whole show.
Yeah, I think so. I think she does a pretty good job. The only thing that she's untested on now that's a little bit scary is, like, despite the people on that show having kind of crazy opinions, they were all pretty polite. The Chase guy was very polite. The MD, I always abbreviations up. Modern Day Dating, Modern Life to MLD. That guy was pretty polite. Even John Doyle was very polite. I don't know how well she would do in an environment where people are trying to, like, railroad her or, like, steamroad her. Steamroad? Some saying there. But like, steamroller, yeah. Because like if she's getting like screamed down and she's having trouble like keeping up, I don't know how she would deal in that environment. But otherwise, yeah, I think she's like pretty good conversation and everything, yeah.
Okay. Well, good, man. Listen, it was a good run of podcasts y'all did, so good job. And yeah, I'll let you get back to it.
Hello.
Figured it out, finally. How's it going, man?
You did well. Hello, I'm going great. How are you going?
I'm doing all right. Is the audio okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Yeah, I don't really use Discord much, so.
Well, you should. It's the industry standard communications device, okay?
I should. Yo, by the way, what's your words per minute? You type fast as...
You know, like 170, okay?
Damn, impressive.
Wait,
so question.
Yeah.
Question for you. Your hair, did you cut it before the show, or you just styled it differently?
I got a haircut before the show. I got a haircut like 2 weeks ago or something. Why?
Well, my whole like red hair wig bit fell flat because I was expecting you to have your typical like blue mop.
Well, I still had a lot of blue hair. I think people.
Yeah, but it was all slicked back like you're in the 50s and.
Well, that's how I normally comb it. Okay, you must have saw me on a sloppy day. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold it against you that you ruined my bit.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, maybe I should have asked you before the show to. Go in the bathroom and just fuck it up.
That sounds listen, next time I'm on the show, if you want, we can go into the bathroom and f all you want, okay?
All right, deal. Hey, so am I canceled? Do you think I'm canceled or what?
No, why are you guys so freaking out over TikTok clips? I'm so confused right now. Isn't this what you guys do? Isn't this like the whole industry is like farming TikTok clips off each other?
No, it's been a little bad. It's been pretty bad, not gonna lie.
What has been bad? Does your show have sponsors?
No. Just like.
Then it's just people talking shit online. Does it matter? Or I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm being really dismissive. But go ahead.
I guess it's like mostly shit talking, but you know, getting like a couple death threats here and there, so that's always fun.
You guys have never had death threats before?
Not really.
Oh,
but,
damn. Well.
But I don't know. I feel like and then I guess Daz Black, who I only recognize the name because I guess he made some massive hit piece on Tate.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to not be a huge fan of the podcast because of something that a guest on the podcast said.
Okay, I don't know even what are we implying here?
Oh well, I mean the whole clip that.
Oh, wait, who's Daz?
Daz Black.
Wait, hold on. Somebody's knocking on my door. I have no idea who this is. 1 second.
What's that called when you when they call the cops on you or whatever? swatted. Is Destiny getting swatted?
Fucking Ninu. Okay, sorry. I'm back. Okay. Wait, okay. Who's Daz Black? Catch me up.
Oh, well, I guess he's one of the guys that retweeted the video or something.
Okay.
And it got a huge amount of engagement.
And he said he wasn't a fan of the show? Is that like a big deal, or?
No, I forgot exactly what he said. I think he was like, take their mics away.
Oh,
Get rid of
okay.
this plot. I'd have to pull it up. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he's like one of the guys that was credited for kind of getting on the Tate cancellation train.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. To me, it's like, and I heard only a segment of what you were talking about with Abba, and basically it sounded like you were saying, hey, you were sitting on that side of the table. You should have said something when they were like with their crazy take or whatever. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't think you should have said anything. I think you guys, I mean, personally, I think you guys all believe that shit. But I thought you were within your rights to say whatever you wanted. But, I mean, that's just my perspective.
Well, I guess it's just interesting to me because, I mean, I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word during that entire segment about the whole injure and abuse thing. Like, so I don't know how to be responsible for something that somebody else said, you know? In the same way that, for example, Destiny, if Pixie or Aaron said some outlandish shit and you sat there silently, I wouldn't say that you co-sign on it unless you explicitly say so yourself or agree.
I disagree. I think that's something I'm like super cognizant of when I'm on those shows, especially because Aaron was being crazy, and Pixie was saying some things I didn't agree with too. That's why, like, at the end of those segments, I was like very careful to come in and kind of like give my take so that it didn't seem like I was co-signing what they were saying. Like when I came in, I was like, well, I think that patriarchy is this particular thing, or like here's an example of how corporations maybe shouldn't be. Like I was pretty careful to separate myself so that the audience didn't get the impression that I agreed with them. But also, I think you know this. I think most people know this, right? Like if somebody was on your panel saying some wild shit, like that you obviously disagreed with, I think you'd probably fight back against it. But I think the issue is that, like, I think generally speaking, I think you probably roughly agree that like emotional abuse isn't a good reason to like leave a marriage or something. That's probably something you roughly agree with. That'd be my guess.
No, actually, I disagree.
Oh, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
But
what the fuck?
I don't believe you at all. But I mean,
what? But why do you think I'm like trying to do damage control? Like, I mean, here's the thing. I'm the host of the show. Sure. I bring on various people with different perspectives on things. There's things that I disagree with Chase, with MLD, with Mary, with you guys. I'm the host. I'm the moderator. And kind of one of the things that I do with the show is, hey, I just kind of sit back and let the conversation flow. And honestly, half the time, I'm not gonna lie, I'm checked out of the conversation. Like I'm you saw me, I'm like going behind the scenes. There's some technical issues going on. I'm trying to keep tabs on super chats and TTS and all this stuff. And then I went off because I went away for like 10-20 minutes to lay down because I've been having chronic neck pain issues and I have pretty bad like headaches and migraines. So I kind of just like let people talk and yeah.
Okay.
But so I mean, I don't know how to like, you think that I agree with Chase and Destiny just because by proxy? Like just
well, no, because I feel like I've heard you like give takes. Like my guess is going to be, I'm going to start to fill in some blanks here, and I don't actually know, so I could be totally wrong. But like my guess is like you guys probably think that women are over exaggerating when they talk about abuse, or they've expanded like the definition of abuse to mean like anything, and that women aren't doing a good enough job to stick it out in rough marriages to try to fix it, especially for the sake of the children. That women are largely abusive when it comes to things like divorce, where men are getting fucked. Like these are probably all beliefs that I imagine if I go through your show, either you or I probably you directly have given like all these takes before. That'd be my guess. Do you think that'd be true if I were to start going through VODs and finding it?
Well, I mean, I think you just listed off 4 or 5 different things there, but
every single one of those things are things you probably agree with, right?
Well, here, list them again. List them again.
So you probably think that women make out really good in divorce, generally, yeah?
I would say women fare better in divorce than do men.
Okay, that's essentially
Generally
restating what I'm saying, but
speaking.
sure. So women fare better in divorce. You probably think that most divorces, 60% plus, are women's fault, right?
I've never said that. I don't know who.
Were you the one on the show, or was it?
Hold on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't attribute fault necessarily to the man or the woman. What I do know is that women overwhelmingly initiate divorce. Who's at fault? I can't say.
Well, what would be the point of bringing up that women initiate divorce if you're not placing some blame on them?
What would be the point in saying that? I mean, well, my argument is, and this is an example of where I differ from Chase, is I'm not in favor of marriage.
But are you not in favor of marriage as an institution because you think it's bad, or are you not in favor because women abuse men with divorce?
Well, I think there's just such negative consequences typically that disproportionately fall on men when it comes to divorce. And that comes in the form of alimony payments.
Yeah. So this is what I said earlier, that you think that generally like women make out better than men in divorce.
Yeah.
That women were you the one that quoted that thing about 90% of divorces between educated people are initiated by college educated women?
So I think what I've said is 80% of divorces are initiated by women, and it's higher if she's college educated or if she's the breadwinner. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But let's get. You were listing out.
Yeah. Well, I'm just getting because that was gonna be the next thing. Have you ever used that 90% figure before? Because I think you did in the episode.
I think I said it on the show that you were on.
Yeah. Let's see. You probably think a lot of quote unquote abuse is exaggerated from women, I would guess, like especially when it comes to like emotional abuse.
I don't know. I think no. Well, look.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Truthfully, I don't know. I do think that there are instances where people claim that there's over exaggeration. I mean, you've probably seen that in your own life where people might over exaggerate a situation or make false claims about somebody to receive some sort of benefit. So I don't think all abuse is over exaggerated.
Okay, but hold on. Boring.
And perhaps
everybody. Hold on. No, wait, hold on.
Understated.
That's a boring. Of course, not all. Those are like statements we make when we say, like, when you say things like that, it makes me think your actual opinion is way more radical than it might even be. Okay, if I say is something bad, and you're like, well, I'm sure.
Hold on. You think my position is radical? What do you mean?
Well, hold on, because when you have
you're assuming what my position is.
No, I am, but now I'm asking a bunch of questions, and I admitted that. I fully admitted, by the way. I'm assuming that this is probably your position. You probably roughly agree with most things that were said, and I'm asking you a bunch of questions.
No. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
I don't roughly agree with most of the things that were said.
Okay.
Just because I sat there silently in the same way that, for example, and it's interesting that, for example, some of the other girls, look, if you silently, not you, but if you put in the girl who was kind of being toxic towards you, and then Billy, and then Pixie, and then Aaron silently in that clip, where MLD is talking about you must endure, why not attribute that same thing to them? Just because someone is sitting at that table and is not engaging in a particular conversational thread does not mean that they are co-signing. So it's a 5-hour conversation. I don't feel the need to agree or disagree with every single stance that is taken, especially as the host and the moderator.
Well, I mean, okay. I don't know what you want me to do about, or what is
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think you had Abba on the call, and you guys were like, well, he must clearly agree with I don't know exactly what you guys said.
Because obviously I think that. Like, I think if somebody on your side was saying things like black people are subhuman, I don't think you would just sit there and kind of like nod along. I think you'd be like, well, hold on. I don't think I agree with that. right?
Well, but I think one of the issues, first off, with having as many people on the show as we did, we had 11 people on that panel, is it's pretty hard to get your voice in. I'm a soft-spoken guy. I'm fairly introverted. I'm not particularly loud.
Okay, hold on. You're literally the host. You were able to quiet the conversation multiple times. You have literally control over the show and can kick people out. I don't think you have problems.
Yeah, but I don't feel obliged to, at every instance someone says something that I disagree with, that I need to make it a point to clarify, well, I don't that I disagree with this, or I agree with this. I don't think that's necessary.
Okay. I mean, that can be an opinion you have. I think that most people would probably disagree.
Well, I think you're kind of bullying me into a position that I don't hold.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know what to say about that. If I'm on a show, if I'm on a show and then you are on their side, roughly speaking, right? You guys are like the red pillars, right? So if you're on their side and people on that side are making claims and they're all roughly in agreement with each other, well, then of course I'm going to assume that you're probably roughly in agreement with them. Like, I think it's pretty reasonable, right? That's why when I'm on those shows also, like, I'm trying to think very carefully, like when Aaron was fucking acting insane, and even when Pixie was making arguments I don't agree with, I'm trying to think like, okay, what can I say when she finishes so that the audience clearly knows that I don't believe these things? Because if I don't say anything, I think it would have been fair for everybody to be like, oh, Destiny, especially because these are my friends, right? Well, if Aaron comes on and she starts getting super combative and Pixie's saying stuff about how all men are oppressed, Destiny must believe the same thing. I would expect everybody to think that. Well,
I disagree.
Okay, that's cool if you disagree, but you would be wrong, okay? Because people will absolutely come to that conclusion. Even if it's not right, people will come to that conclusion, right?
Oh, certainly. People may wrongly come to that conclusion, but if Aaron started saying some outlandish shit and you're on that side of the table, I would not say that you also share that exact same belief. Just because you opted to not agree or disagree with what she's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the vast majority of people would just assume that you're in agreement. Like, for instance, I would agree, and I might even be wrong on this, but I would probably say that, like, Fresh and Fit probably agree on, like, 99% of shit. That'd be my guess. Because, like, it's not like they ever contradict each other on the show, but maybe that's not true. Maybe they actually have,
You mean Myron and Fresh?
What did I say? I said Fresh and Fit, right?
Okay, between the two of them.
Yeah, the Fresh and Fit, those two, I would assume they probably agree on almost everything because it's not like they're ever like calling each other out on their opinions. But maybe they don't. Maybe they actually do have a lot of disagreements. But most people are going to watch the show and assume it's called Fresh and Fit. They never argue with each other. They probably agree with like 95% of things, right? But also keep in mind on the show, you literally didn't you literally ask me like, did you guys plan for her to come in and troll like that? So I think you actually even did kind of assume that we were in on it. Which we weren't, also, to be clear, by the way. That was we got into an argument over that behavior. Well, you saw it,
I don't know if it's worth bringing that up, but you know what?
Bring whatever you want. It's all good. What up?
You know what though? It did occur to me that after looking it back, you were kind of laughing quite a bit at her at Aaron's. I don't know. I don't even know how to characterize it. Just.
Yeah, I was laughing. Do you know why I was laughing?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
Okay, I was laughing because 1 or 2 weeks earlier, do you know Farah, right? OnlyFans girl, booby girl.
Yeah.
My friend. Yes, I shouldn't call her OnlyFans. Well, because you told her to move her hair out of the way for fucking cleavage. That's the part.
Now her name's Booby Girl.
Listen, I shouldn't. God damn it, she's gonna get mad at me for that. I'm just kidding. Farah's my friend. She's cool. When she was on your episode, I was raging watching at the episode because I was like, fuck me, Farah gets to 1v3 like all of these red pill dudes, and the episode that I'm going to go on has me with 3 other people. And historically, I don't expect you to know any of this, but that's fine. But historically, on my stream, like multi-partner debates are disastrous for me because I can enunciate myself very well, very clearly, very concisely. And when I have partners, it usually jumbles my performance up a lot. And I was complaining to Mel, I was like, fuck, like I'm going to be on with 3 of you guys. Anytime you guys say some shit, it might fuck my shit. And it's going to be really frustrating. And Melina's like, nah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And then once we get on the show, Aaron starts going crazy. And I'm sitting like laughing because I'm like, fuck me. And like me and Mel are like awkwardly laughing to each other. But we're not laughing like, oh my God, this is all going to plan. We're laughing because it's awkward and because it looks like I've basically come to troll your show. And like anything that she's saying is going to get associated with me immediately because they're on as my friends. And it kind of makes me look bad. That's why I was laughing, but I was laughing awkwardly. But like, it wasn't like, oh, this is like epic. Like you understand from my perspective, it doesn't make me look good at all to troll that way. It reduces my ability to go on shows like yours. It probably just makes me look bad in the eyes of your audience. It's not even necessarily like a funny troll. Like if she would have started like throwing shit and walking out, it would have been funnier. But I mean, that wasn't what was going on. Like, yeah. So I was laughing awkwardly. I didn't set anything up. I don't know if you believe me or not, but you were tuned into their Twitch stream yesterday where I was like arguing with them, like, hey, this is why you had these problems and why people weren't taking you seriously. So we were having an argument with how they appeared on the show. It wasn't like I was like, good job, you guys fucked them up hardcore, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you do raise a good point about how perhaps I did attribute some of, hey, are they in this together?
Which is fair, by the way, because we fucking came together. I would make the same assumptions.
Yeah,
like that's totally fair, 100%.
Yeah. But I mean, looking back at it, I'd take your word for it. I obviously just asked the question because there were a couple moments where you guys were kind of laughing together, and I was like, yo, did Aaron plan this? Like, it just seemed like such a silly thing to get stuck on,
Yeah, no, I agree. Going on a dating podcast and making a huge stink when somebody asks you your body count or if you've ever been on a date is kind of dumb. I agree. Yeah, we argued about that a lot.
Yeah. And I think the thing with me is, and just to touch on the whole Aaron thing, she at some point I actually gave her an out by asking her if she was uncomfortable answering the question, and she was being so obtuse. Like she couldn't just say, hey, I'm uncomfortable answering the question, and then she was just needlessly and deliberately evasive. And at one point she says, we'll get to it later.
Yeah, I agree. She answered every question the worst way possible if she didn't want to answer it, because when I was arguing with her and Pixie, she pointed out, well, Melina didn't answer it either, but they were rougher on me. And I was like, well, Melina said she didn't want to answer it though. And then they moved on. It was just because of that. Melina gave like a pretty clear, like, I'm not going to answer, so I don't think. And even Lav actually did that on your show as well when she was on. I don't know if you remember her. Where Lav would like say she didn't want to answer certain questions because it's like torture porn, and then you would move on. But it's because she gave like a clear answer and she wasn't being evasive, right?
Yeah.
I'm aware of that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole we'll get to it later kind of set a false expectation that later on she would answer, which is why I brought it up later on. And then, I mean, she asked what a virgin was.
Sure, yeah, I understand. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. And then, so I think the breaking point was, there's something Chase asked her, and I think he was like, did you just come on to troll or something? And she's like, I don't know, am I? Or I don't think that was his question, but
sure.
It was she's just being kind of obnoxious, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we kicked her off, but good times. Destiny, do you co-sign the kickoff?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I didn't disagree.
Oh, okay, all right. Success.
But I also think you co-signed all of the pro-abuse thing that everybody else was saying, bro.
How are you gonna, okay.
But I mean, like, come on, don't you bring girls on to like fucking light them up for their dumbass fucking opinions all the time on like clips and shit? Isn't that like the point? I mean, you can't get too upset if it happens to you guys every now and then, no?
I mean, the thing is I think maybe MLD is probably the one that ought to get the brunt of it, but I feel like because, it was on my podcast, it happened on my podcast. I don't know. Here's the thing. I think people see the clip and they think, hey, that's MLD is part of the podcast. He's a host of the podcast. He's been on a couple shows. He's a guest. We've had on hundreds of people. So, I mean, yeah. I don't. I get the sense that you're just not gonna concede that. Because I didn't immediately be like, whoa, that's a really fucked up take there, MLD. That means I must agree. But my position is that, and my view is, and this doesn't apply to just me. This applies to anybody. I don't know how to be responsible for what somebody else says. I just know to be responsible but that's not... for what I say.
Sure. Okay. And then also listen. Okay, because I'm not here to help you. I can't help it. I'm just being like super brutal honest, okay? That's all I'm here for, okay? I think you do know, because as soon as the topics ventured into territory that you thought might jeopardize the channel, like child or rape or any shit like that, you're like, move off this. So like, you're capable of changing the topic if you need to. You're capable of of stopping a conversation immediately if you feel like it's going into territory that is not okay, and you're capable of identifying which spots in a conversation like need to be changed up. So I think you can do that. I just think that for this part, you didn't think it was necessarily that egregious what everybody was saying. That's
well, in regards to TOS, the conversation that was being had, I don't think was at any risk of interfering with TOS and talking about hey, what should you do in this event, or when it comes to abuse. I don't object to that conversation being had.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure, like, relating it to some of the pre-show stuff where it's like, hey, let's not talk about the child stuff, because that's we had a girl come on, and I think I mentioned this before the pre-show. We had this Fed come on who works with that sort of stuff, and she wanted to like jam it into the conversation, and that video ended up getting age restricted, and and it's just, I don't know, it's such a buzzkill to talk about that shit, but
sure.
At the end of the day, again, I must reiterate, I'm just responsible for what I say. If you guys went and said some wild shit,
mm-hmm.
that like, and someone wanted to say, look at what these people are saying on the whatever podcast, I think you have to go to the individual who's saying it, So
yeah, I mean, if you believe that, that's fine for you to believe, but nobody else in the industry is going to use that standard. Viewers, show hosts, like, everybody's going to judge people based on what guests on a particular show say. They're going to judge the host based on that. Like, that's going to be super normal everywhere.
Really?
Absolutely,
so
of course.
If somebody comes on a podcast and says some outlandish shit, and they're a guest,
mm-hmm.
then that means that, like, aren't there disclaimers before shows? Like, the views expressed by the panelists do not necessarily reflect the views of the producers or the hosts or some shit. Maybe I should start saying
and people
that.
and people on their Twitters say my views are my own only and don't express my employer. How many times do you think that's and people also used to write no copyright infringement intended on their copyright infringing videos. Like, it doesn't do anything, right? Yeah.
But okay, let me ask you a question. So Lex Friedman had Kanye West on his show and was interviewing him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a great example, because I'm
going to ask you, what's the difference, right?
Well, yeah, I'm already getting there. Lex, granted, pushed back on what Kanye was saying, but I mean, just as a defense to, hey, if someone goes on a platform and says something, I don't think you can necessarily attribute what they're saying to the platform or to the host. Oh,
you keep
Destiny?
Wait, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
can you hold on just 1 sec? I have to.
Yeah, streaming for another 2 hours. You're good.
1 sec. I'm just gonna mute my mic.
Okay. I don't want him to get canceled based on our conversation now, but I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I think this is one of those moments where I'm supposed to act more human.
What were you talking about? I think we were.
You were saying you're upset how reality works, that audiences will judge a host based on what somebody says.
I think we were talking about getting you and Farah set up, like, on a date or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I be your wingman?
No. Why? First of all, why would I ever need or want you, okay, the woman hater, as a wingman?
What the?
Okay.
Bro. Hold on.
Yeah, it's okay. I hate women too. Don't worry.
Whoa. What the? See, I can't tell when you're being.
Yeah, that's the whole point. When I'm never being serious, I can never be called out for not being serious,
Oh. See, that's what... I have to give you your flowers, Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
You're a master debater.
Thanks.
Very smart. Very intelligent. And so I'm wondering...
Mm-hmm.
Because, look, I'm a college dropout. I used to make prank videos on YouTube. Not exactly like... the most
highbrow, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly an intellectual titan. Even when it comes to, like, some of this dating stuff, like, I wish I had more time to prepare for the shows, but honestly, I'm so busy, like, trying to actually make the shows happen,
mm-hmm.
and dealing with all the technical stuff. Like, most of the time I'm winging it, every show. I try to do some preparation, but I'm just too busy. Like I'm running the channel, running the business. I need to bring a team around me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But and English is my second language. That's my typical cop out.
Is it really? Wait, what's your primary language?
French.
No shot. Speak some French.
Eh bien, Steven, voulez-vous coucher
okay, hold on.
moi ce soir?
Was this 3 years of French in high school or 2 years of French in high school?
Well, see here. Okay, I was born.
Yeah.
I was born in France, and then I moved to the U.S. when I was 5.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, yeah, but technically, I'm an ESL student,
True.
so I think I can pass.
Okay.
I should use that as an out more. Oh, I don't understand English. I'm sorry.
I told Pixie that. I gave her that as unironic advice. I said, if you're ever reaching for words, instead of saying like or whatever, just speak like a little bit of Spanish, like you're searching for words, and people probably interpret you as being smarter.
Spanish.
Yeah, Pixie.
What about Swedish?
No,
oh,
Pixie.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were saying Mel. Okay.
No.
I guess Mel has that out too, although they speak pretty good English in Sweden. So.
Yeah.
Wait. So Pixie, she's she Cuban or what? What?
Puerto Rican.
Oh, Puerto Rican. Okay. All right. You're Cuban, right?
Part
Cuban.
But Cuban is like a nationality, right? So it doesn't technically imply anything, right? Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. But anyway, unironically, I'm not trying to. Again, I'm not here to like cancel it. I don't want you guys to be canceled again because I love your platform. But seriously, if you're sitting on a side of the table with people that are like going hard on some topic, people are going to assume that everybody on that side of the table agrees with everything that's being said. It's funny because, and you can actually read my editor because we talk about strategies for going on podcasts. When I go on podcasts like that, and when I did the one the day before with Sneeko, something that I have to be very careful of is I try very hard to separate myself from people that I'm on the same side as, so that people don't think we have the same opinion. And ironically enough, the problem that all 3 or 4 of you guys were running into is you guys were all falling over each other's opinions on the matter. Like John Doyle was giving extreme takes, the dating guy was giving kind of takes, and then the Chase guy was giving kind of like Christian Tradcon takes, and like all of you guys were like kind of tripping over yourselves trying to figure out what was going on. But it's because nobody took the time to separate. Like, okay, hold on, this guy believes this, I believe this, and so when people see it, they just end up throwing everything together, which it might not be fair, but like that's just the reality of what will always happen on those shows. So if you want to be careful with that in the future, if anybody's saying some shit and you feel like you disagree with it, or if you feel like it's going to blow back bad on you or whatever, just like be clear to be like, hey, this guy's making this argument, I don't believe it, but I'll let this argument play out. Like you have to like enunciate that, or people are just going to assume you agree with everything.
That's a fair point. Yeah. Noted. Definitely. If yeah. I mean, I just assumed that, I mean, maybe because my view is, and perhaps I went into this wrongly, my view is if just because someone is of the same, for example, political orientation, I don't, for example, if I don't think it should be the case if you know somebody's stance on one political issue, that you ought to be able to determine their stance on all the rest. For example, but like I think it's the case that at least in the U.S., if not all the time, but if you know someone's stance on one issue, it's very likely you can guess their stance on the rest.
On almost everything, yeah.
On almost everything.
Like if I ask somebody like, "Are you a fan of Andrew Tate?" If they say yes, I also know that they probably support Donald Trump. They probably view Islam more favorably than Christianity. They're probably against vaccinations. They probably think the FDA is bad. They probably have strong opinions about Fauci and Klaus Schwab. They probably don't like the World Economic Forum. Like I can guess like 20 political opinions just based on that one thing. Sure. And then same thing when people see somebody with blue hair. You can also probably guess like, you can generate like 30 opinions immediately just by the hair color they have, right? They probably use pronouns, probably don't like Biden or Trump, and they wanted Bernie Sanders to win, but they think he got ripped off for the election. Probably think that we should still be wearing masks forever. Probably yeah, you can figure all this out like pretty quickly. So I mean, I understand why people do it.
Yeah, but I don't think that that should be the case. Where if you're, for example, how it was with the panel. Now I agree with you that perhaps that's how a lot of people are going to take it. So I guess my question to you is, because of my silence, do you genuinely think, yes, Brian, the host of the Whatever podcast, he also agrees with it? Or do you think, hey, this is actually the perception that how most people are going to view it? So where do you fall?
Well, I mean, based on what I've seen in the past, yeah, I would assume that you believe it, but I understand you don't like my opinion on that.
Well, what have you seen in the past?
Well, it seems like you guys have like the pretty bog standard like red pill takes, like everything I was saying earlier about like divorce and women manipulating men in marriages and coming up better and being evil and all that. Like I feel like
I don't know if that's so much a red pill take as it's a men's rights take.
Yeah, but even MRAs are like oftentimes like pretty on a lot of their social takes. Like if somebody tells me they're an MRA, like I agree with a lot of men's rights issues that they bring up, to be honest, but like I would never announce myself as an MRA ever, because I know the types of beliefs that those people get associated with. So
what kind of beliefs do they get associated with?
They just hate women.
No, come on, that's not fair.
More often than not, it's generally true. I feel like that's true of most red pill spaces. They just hate women. I mean, but
if MRA is the counter to feminism, would you say that most feminists hate men?
Feminism is a way broader movement than MRAs, so I wouldn't say that exactly, but I would say, yeah, there are a lot of feminism that hate men. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
Right. Well, I agree with that.
Sure. Well, but you would probably say all feminists hate men, but...
No, I wouldn't say, well, I mean, I think this term feminism is not particularly helpful, and maybe this is kind of no true Scotsman, but it's just, I think feminism, someone will think feminism means equality, and then they're going to want to attach to the term. But I don't think feminism is about equality. And I think there's different, I don't know, it's such a convoluted concept.
I mean, there's a lot of people that think that there are feminists that are just looking for equity between the sexes. Like,
well, I don't really understand this equity concept. Equality makes sense to me, but equity I'm not so sure on.
Well, I mean, equity probably seeks to address a lot of the underlying differences between men and women that oftentimes, between men and women that oftentimes aren't going to be accounted for with a brutal fact check between like men and women. So for instance, just saying that like for instance, like today, if I could push a button and delete all racism in the United States, it wouldn't help black people catch up to white people. They'd all be like still pretty because of the history of things that happened. But I mean, I am going to agree with you that like I'll be honest, when I hear somebody say equity, I usually cringe because I know I'm about to hear the worst fucking takes I've ever heard in my life. Because most of the time people say equity, they're about to say some wild shit. But I mean, like generally speaking, like equity means something for a reason. But.
Mm-hmm. And wait, so do you consider yourself a feminist? I think you said you did on the show.
Yeah, but like I'm gonna qualify that really hard when I say that, because I know what that evokes when somebody says they're a feminist, right?
Right. Okay. So do you hate men?
Yeah, but I hate women too, so it kind of balances out.
Okay, you're an equal opportunity hater.
Yeah, I don't like hate men or women. I think that they both do like fucking retarded things in a lot of different points of their lives.
Sure.
Yeah, but then depending on who I'm talking to, they get mad at what I say. Women get mad because they think I blame them for rape, because I think some of it's kind of their fault. And then men get mad at me when I blame them for rape, because I think a lot of it's probably their fault. And then we get into whatever. But it is what it is. Yeah. But I mean, like you guys must have had like viral clips before where like people are like blowing you guys up and shit. I feel like I've seen viral clips from your show, but I guess it's usually you blowing up the girls, not you guys like catching heat from people.
I mean, I think this is how perhaps what I do is a little bit different than Fresh and Fit is, and a lot of the clips we don't even produce ourselves. Like it's just other people, and not even employed by us, just people who watch the show and they clip moments. I guess this is kind of my differentiating point is, and granted, I think Fresh and Fit, a lot of the people will go on there, a lot of the women will go on there and have some interesting takes, let's say. But if you look at the clips of Fresh and Fit, generally it's more so Myron cooking. It's Myron talking about red pill or having some base take, whatever it is, right? But what I like to do with my podcast is I try to give space and opportunity for people to talk. So oftentimes the clips you see from whatever, it's not me talking, although sometimes it is. It's typically the women saying something. And typically it's not always the most flattering thing.
Sure.
But it's usually not me like dunking on chicks. And there's a few of those moments, but I typically I'm more about asking questions and letting people speak, because I'm more interested in just hearing people's take on it instead of just getting a quick answer and then, immediately trying to insert my view into things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Good times. So yeah, basically I suck at debating and you're a legend. How do I become an orbiter?
I don't know, dude.
Is that too direct?
Well, I mean, I think you can always hop on my stream and chat if you want to chat. So.
Yeah. Is this gonna be like a apprenticeship?
If you want it to be, but I mean,
No.
I don't know what you want me to say. Yeah, we take all kinds here. Okay.
Okay. Wait, question.
Yeah.
Did you have, okay, so again, to give you your flowers, like super smart dude, very articulate.
Wait, who are we talking about right now?
You.
Oh, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. English is my second language.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Did you always kind of have a natural talent for talking and debate?
I mean, like, I was argumentative all throughout high school. So, like, I've been doing, like, being an asshole my whole life, basically. So, kind of, yeah.
Okay. Good times.
Yeah.
Okay. But, I mean, because I saw a clip, and, I mean, going into that Rolo conversation, it looks like you do a fair amount of preparation before.
Yeah, if I'm having a serious conversation that is an issue that is important to me, and I know I'm going to be on an adversarial platform where I'm trying to represent my side the best, then yeah, I do a lot of homework for stuff like this. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Did you do any prep for our podcast?
No, because I thought that everything I did for the Rolo one was going to equip me about as well as it could have. I don't know what other additional prep I could have done.
Yo, can you tell me what is glazing? What is glazing?
Glazing is it's when you're giving props to somebody.
Oh, okay. Brian heard Destiny is buying now. What the bro, guys, relax. Can you like send me the PDF like of
of what?
Of your notes for the whatever podcast?
Oh, I didn't have notes for the whatever podcast. I said I did ones for the Rolo one, but
oh, okay, I see.
I can shoot you the outline. I did this in one day.
Hey, Destiny,
took the whole
we should
day
have you.
There you go.
We should have. Oh, that was the other thing I was gonna ask. I think I messaged you on this. Would you be down to come on and have not like a dating talk, but a debate on abortion?
Yeah, can you just tell me with who? Do I get to know that in advance?
Yeah, I could tell you. By the way, just clarify. What's your stance? Are you pro-life, pro-choice?
Pro-choice.
Pro-choice. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I kind of assumed, but you never know. Because there's definitely left-leaning people that are pro-life. You can definitely make pro-life, secular pro-life arguments.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think so it could be interesting to have Chase on, you, and I don't know if you know if you'd want to have like Mel on or bring somebody else on. I don't really know anyone who's like, maybe, I don't know if you've seen Kiko. She's been on our show a couple times. She's the rage quitter.
Oh, gotcha. Wait, how did you guys feel? Were you nervous at all when that one lady was blowing up? I felt like you guys were joking about the clips she was cutting from you guys.
Which girl? Who?
Oh, fuck. Come on, you must know it. She had like 350,000.
Wow.
No. There was a girl that was pretty big on Twitter, and she was like making clips of you guys, and she was fighting on some shit. Fuck.
OnlyFans? Was it the OnlyFans clip?
Can somebody tell me who it was? I saw these clips on Twitter before I went on.
There's more people dunking on us? Fuck.
No, you mentioned it. So I know you guys were aware of it. You literally mentioned it. Like Allie or I don't remember. Eva? Somebody said Christian pro-life lady.
Oh, Leela.
Oh, Lila? Maybe Lila. It might have been Lila, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, basically, Justin Waller, who I guess is a Tate associate, and yeah, Justin was on, and then we had Lila, she runs a pro-life, anti-abortion thing, and she's a speaker, but she came on, and I I think Justin was basically saying, hey, look, he was talking a little bit about his Playboy lifestyle. And Lila basically said, hey, you're a man of discipline, you're fit, you're a businessman, so you have the discipline to get in the gym, to do business, but why can't you show some sexual discipline? Because I think Justin said something about, hey, I can only love one woman or something. I don't know exactly what he said. I don't want to put words in his mouth. And Lila was like, hey, well, why can't you show sexual discipline? And he kind of got a little befuddled, I guess. And so that clip went viral. But I don't think she was dunking. I mean, that was more between her and Justin, who was also, again, he was a guest on the podcast. So, and I don't agree. Like, my position with this is kind of where I disagree with, I think, Fresh and Fit on some stuff. Like, I'm not in favor of the hookup culture. And I don't think it's good for men or women to be just running through people. Whereas I think with some of the red pill stuff, and again, this is where I disagree with some of the red pill stuff, is, hey, men should just run through chicks, but also women, let's judge them for having high body counts. Now, I think there's differences as to kind of why that is when it comes down to biology, but I don't think men should be running through chicks either. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling there.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, Lila, you, maybe another woman who's on the pro life side, Chase, but that'd be like 3 people stacked against you. I mean,
I'll always go on these shows with it stacked against me. I prefer that environment because I can manage my arguments really well on my own, and I'm used to debating a lot of people. If you want to find one more for me, that's fine. As long as they're not somebody that's gonna make dumb arguments. But yeah, otherwise it's fun. If you ever find like shows like that, like I always like going on with a lot of people to argue against. It's fun for me. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just impressive to me too, because you probably could have. I mean, maybe I should have let you play with that Game Boy, you know, during the whole show.
Yeah, you baited me real hard with that. You told me I could, and then as soon as I picked it up, okay, I was on my second battle. I didn't even fight a trainer yet, and you're like, "Why do you have that Game Boy up?" You baited me hard on that one, so.
Well, because I was like thinking, does it look bad? Does it look bad if Destiny's
just say I'm
so
autistic
bored?
and I just like play video games. That's what I do. That's what I do on stream anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was just concerned, like, oh, everyone's gonna think he's bored and he's being rude. So I was looking out for you, dude. I was like,
oh, okay. But you weren't concerned that people were gonna think that you were pro abuse?
What the fuck, bro? Huh? Are you gonna throw me under the bus like that, Destiny?
I'm just fucking. All right.
Destiny. Wait. Question.
Yeah.
Am I? What? Sorry.
What? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Wait. Okay. So let me just try to wrap my head around this.
Okay, wrap away.
I'm rapping. Okay. If Aaron is like, hey, we need to reduce, if Aaron says this, we need to reduce, and I think some feminists have said this, we need to reduce the male population to 10%. A feminist actually said this. We need to, I don't know the exact words. You need to reduce the male population to 10% of what it is. And you just didn't say anything. That to me, that's not a cosign.
What if it was my friend that I brought on that said that? I think people would assume that that's probably my opinion then, right?
Not a cosign. Not a cosign.
That's fine if you don't think that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But most people will look at it and say, wow, Destiny and his friend are on some wild shit.
Hey, top 3 tips for being a good debater.
Don't let people pivot away from questions. Try to be well read on the subject that you're debating. Be aware of the person that you're arguing with. Be aware of like common kind of like follies or traps to fall into. And practice.
Okay. And also, do you think we should get, besides the abortion debate, do you think we should get you, Pixie, Mel? I want to say Aaron. Perhaps there's a redemption arc. But should we get them back on? All four of you back on? You down?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try, yeah, sure.
Yo, what is glazing? Hello?
Oh my god, I just realized I'm supposed to kill both of these at the same fucking time. I'm so stupid.
Yo, Destiny.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, yeah. I'm always down. If I'm ever in LA, I'll message you beforehand and I'll see if I can hop on or whatever, because I travel a lot, so.
You have any plans?
I mean, I always have
be
stuff
back?
I can do, so it seems like I'm traveling a couple times a month now, so.
If you're down, I'd like to do that. Not the abortion debate in, what's it called? In June.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yes.
Okay.
Hold on, because I have an event that I'm going to around the 22nd in Malibu.
22nd.
From the 19th to the 22nd, I've got something going on down there on one of those days, and I'll be in Malibu. So whatever around there, you can probably do it. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can do that. Shit, I had a question, but it slipped my mind. Oh, yo. Did you ever hit Legend in Hearthstone?
Yeah, in like 2 or 3 months.
What?
I net decked so hard on like some hardcore face rushing shit. So.
Okay. I used to play it like 3 years ago, but I quit video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, it's bad for me. What the bro, the chat, hello? Glaze? What is this glaze thing, dude?
Glaze means you're given too many props. But.
Fuck. Am I simping?
Yeah, that's what it means, yeah.
Fuck. Wait. Hearthstone. Did you play World of Warcraft Classic?
Yeah, I got to level 9.
Bro, what happened?
I don't play World of Warcraft, that's what happened.
Bro, L.
True.
L. Yeah, I used to play Hearthstone. I hit Legend, and then I quit. It's like 3 years ago. Fucking that. What was the toxic? Oh, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Wait, do you know who Legend of Winning is?
No, I don't know why they're.
You don't know why they were what?
No, I don't know what Legends of Winning is.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Some guy on Twitter who just jammed me. But okay. All right. Well, hey, anything else?
Yeah. What is glazing, dude?
Glazing is when you're jerking off somebody so hard they're coming all over your face. That's what it means when I say they're glazing.
Bro, what the fuck?
So given too many props. Okay.
What the? Am I? Have I been simping?
That's what it means. Yeah.
Ah, shit. That's fucked. That's fucked.
All right.
Do you think our this chat's gonna get clipped?
You never know what's gonna get clipped. You never know what's gonna go viral. Anything could at any point in time. But I just went on some huge racist rant yesterday, so you can just say that you were disagreeing with a racist guy. You're good.
Sweet. All right, cool. We'll get these next shows scheduled. Have a good stream, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah, have fun. Be careful.
I'm in. Bye.